Holiday Greetings 2025, Prime Minister and Minister of General Affairs. Christmas Message 2025. MP Omar Otley on the Initiative National Ordinance amending on admission and expulsion from St. Martin. Reopening of all schools in Jamaica set for January 6th, following Hurricane Melissa. From the island, St. Martin, this is SXM Daily News for December 24th, 2025. Holiday Greetings. Prime Minister and Minister of General Affairs launching his Christmas message extend to know my heartfelt Christmas greetings. Christmas is the season that causes loss to loop beyond the noise of daily life and reflect on what truly matters: faith, compassion, and community. It is time when we are reminded that even in moments of uncertainty, light always finds a way to break through the darkness. This year, reflect on how far we have come as a people, said Prime Minister Dr. Luc Mercelina of St. Martin.
Fellow people of St. Martin, as the light of Christmas shine across our island and families gather in homes filled with warmth, reflection and hope, I extend to you my heartfelt Christmas greetings. Christmas is a season that calls us to pause, to look beyond the noise of daily life and reflect on what truly matters: faith, family, compassion, and community. It is time when we are reminded that even in moments of uncertainty, light always finds a way to break through the darkness. This year, we reflect on how far we have come as a people. St. Martin has faced its shares of challenges, economic pressures, climate threats, and the ongoing work of strengthening our institutions. But time and again, our people have proven that resilience is woven into the very fabric of our nation. We do not retreat, we rise. In 2026, we continue the important work of building a stronger, fairer, and more sustainable St. Martin, one where opportunity is expanded, governance is strengthened, and our economy is shaped not only by growth, but by inclusion and responsibility. We are laying foundations that will serve not just this generation, but generations to come. At the heart of this progress, we are one people. Thank you to every teacher, every nurse, every police officer, every firefighter, every paramedic, every volunteer, every parent, and every young person pushing through their own battles. Your service, your sacrifice, and your perseverance embody the true spirit of St. Martin and the meaning of the season. Christmas also reminds us that progress must always be guided by humanity. As a nation, we are strongest when we care for the most vulnerable among us, the elderly, our children, those struggling to make ends meet, and all who may feel unseen or unheard. Let us recommit ourselves to kindness, to empathy and solidarity, not only during this season, but throughout the year ahead. As we look ahead to the year before us, let us carry the spirit of Christmas with us, the courage to believe, the strength to act, and the wisdom to work together. St. Martin's story is still being written, and each of us has a role to play in shaping a nation that is resilient, just, and proud. May this Christmas bring peace to your homes, renewed faith to your hearts, and hope for a brighter tomorrow. From my family to yours, I wish you a blessed Christmas and a prosperous, healthy, and united New Year. May God bless you all, and may God bless St. Martin.
Holiday greetings from Richinel Brugge, Minister of Public Health, Social Development and Labour. Christmas message.
Blessings, people of St. Martin. As we come together during this holiday season and stand at the doorway of a new year, I speak to you honestly, not with empty chair, but with truth and concern for our people. For many families, this has not been an easy year. The cost of living continues to rise. Too many households are struggling to make ends meet. Our seniors, worried about affordability and care. Single parents are stretched thin. Young people feel uncertain about the future. This is the reality of St. Martin today, and it would be unfair to speak to you as if all is well when many are barely holding on. But even in these difficult times, one thing remains powerful and unbroken: the heart of our people. St. Martin has always been strong, not because life is easy, because it's not, but because our people care deeply for one another. And now, more than ever, we must return to that spirit. This season, I ask you to be your brother and sister's keeper. Check on your neighbor. Take care of our elderly and our children. Share what little you may have with someone who has less. A small kindness can change a life. Let us choose compassion over division, unity over indifference, action over silence. As Minister of VSA, I want you to know this: you are not forgotten. This year, we did not only speak about assistance, we delivered it. For example, we launched a pilot grocery assistance program for our seniors, ensuring that our elderly citizens do not have to choose between food and other basic needs. And for those who are homeless and don't know where their next meal is coming from, we implemented a homeless crisis response and empowerment project, because no one in St. Martin should be left behind. Through the GB Relief Program, we brought support to vulnerable households. In December alone, almost 1,000 bags of fruits and vegetables were distributed to families in need. Because proper nutrition is not a luxury, it is a necessity. These programs will continue into the new year, and the work does not stop here. In the first half of the coming year, you will see increased support and targeted programs for those who need it most. I will not promise perfection, but I do promise effort. I do promise accountability, and I do promise that the ministry, this ministry, will continue to work every day in service of the people. From my family to yours, on behalf of my cabinet and the dedicated civil servants within the Ministry of VSA, I wish you peace, protection, health, and comfort during this holiday season. May the new year bring healing to our homes and a renewed purpose to our nation. God bless you. God bless St. Martin.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SZV is cardless. Request your My SZV account today and enter the virtual office of SZV. Go to szv.sx and sign up now.
SZV, yeah. Your social health insurances.
MP Omar Otley, the leader of the UP party, today took an unfortunate twist, but I really was expecting some genuine feedback. But what I saw today, here, was an application for recognition. And that is not what this was about. And it changed the whole narrative, because it was Karen who broke nobody's law. The impression is given that I started it, and my colleague is here. Work tirelessly with my staff to create a law.
Madam Chair, it'll be remiss of me not to mention the collaborative efforts. Today took an unfortunate twist, and I really was expecting some genuine feedback. But what I saw today, Madam Chair, was apply for recognition. And that is not what this was about, and it changed the whole narrative because it was I, me. Madam Chair, I didn't steal nobody's law. The impression is given that I started it and my colleague is here present. I didn't steal nobody's law, Madam Chair. I take the same money that I work for the people, use the money and spent and work tirelessly with my staff to create a law. Madam Chair, my law was not submitted first. And as I stated, it's over a year. My law was not submitted first, so then why am I here presenting, Madam Chair? I'm here presenting because I do not play with the people's business. When it's time to go, I go. I have even offered my colleague the information, number, and name of my legislative draftsman when they have asked. So it's not about who gets credit, who don't get credit. At the end of the day, Madam Chair, I have realized who carries it out on the government level gets the credit. My dear colleague, MP Myers, gave some valid remarks that I'm willing to look into. And as a matter of fact, the reason that we put the 10-year is because many persons have been talking about this, allowing kids born here to be residents. But again, if we look at the Council of Advice, if we don't put a requirement, we will open the floodgates for what MP De Weaver called anchor babies. So if you were here contributing for the 10 years before the child born, I want everyone to pay attention to that. And after that, within the 10 years, you stand alone. And a matter of fact, Madam Chair, there's barely any distinction between the two laws. So we are talking about ensuring that it passes, ensuring that this. One MP said 12, I said 10. And I clearly stated that I did it with uniformity and understanding the age limit and taking into consideration the 5 years that it would take to get your Dutch passport to allow you to receive higher education. All of us have spoken about this. So, Madam Chair, like I stated, I had all my answers ready. However, we have another engagement that we cannot answer, that we cannot take the answers at this time, but I look forward to coming back. And also when it pertains to the ministers, I stated that it was sent to the government of St. Martin since September. During the budget debate, I specifically asked the impression of this on each minister, and all of them said it's something that they would want to work on. And like my dear chair lady said, it's been in government, governing programs for government upon government upon government. And while MP Janssen, I have to touch on this part, spoke about bias, nationality, stigma. Why? It goes to this. It's news to me. But however, the policy injustice does exist. It is the choice of the minister to execute the policy, and I said it in my presentation. At this moment, it is of the prerogative of the minister. Doesn't mean that the policy doesn't exist. MP Lyndon Lewis, then Minister Lewis, used it. MP Anna Richardson started it and used it for a period of 4 years. And if this minister chooses not to, it's okay. But I refer to what I stated on page 6 of my presentation. The unwritten policy has been applied by all incoming government. Today is our official attempt to make the unwritten policy law to ensure that the rights of our children born here are protected. That is what is important. I have answered the requirements of the council. I have been back and forth with the secretariat because I don't believe, as members of parliament, when the people have an issue, the people don't go to the SER. The people don't go to the Council of Advice. The people go to us. And we have a job to do. And if I submit a legislation for a period of a year and still have no clear distinction or time frame on when this legislation will come, that is why the people of St. Martin does say, we here collecting big fat salaries and we ain't doing nothing. Because they don't know the work and the feedback and the red tapes that we have to go through. Many of us have seen us in the news submitting laws, legislation, amendments, and today where are they? And people are thinking we are lying. I'm happy. I give credit to the Secretariat, to the Chair Lady for getting this on the agenda and not playing politics. And I hope that we cannot play politics and vote and put the people forward, not because me as an opposition member bring in a legislation. Madam Chair, I'll end by saying, a nation's morality is revealed by whose suffering it chooses to ignore. I will not be one to ignore the suffering of the people. The data is there in our everyday life as we walk out. The people that we have helped, the people that we were unable to help. I am just happy and blessed to be here today, trying to make a difference for my country, whether we do it together or solely. Thank you, Madam Chair.
The U.S. has ramped up its military presence in the Caribbean, with President Trump announcing a naval blockade to stop Venezuela from exporting its oil. U.S. Ambassador Mike Waltz said Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro's ability to sell oil was enabling narco-terrorist activities. Report by DW News.
President Trump has been very clear that he is going to use the full power of the United States of America, the full might of the United States, to take on and eradicate these drug cartels which have operated with impunity in our hemisphere for far too long, and everyone knows it. The single most serious threat to this hemisphere, our very own neighborhood, and the United States, is from transnational terrorist and criminal groups.
And with me now is Alan Weiner. He is a scholar of international law at Stanford Law School. Alan, we just heard U.S. Ambassador Waltz saying the U.S. has to protect its hemisphere from Venezuela and from its alleged support for drug cartels. Do you see any legal basis for U.S. actions, including intercepting oil tankers in international waters?
Well, there are a number of different issues here. I mean, clearly, the threat to engage in regime change is difficult to defend under international law. The Maduro regime, although it is illegitimate, I think there's very little doubt that the elections that Maduro has relied on to keep him in power were fraudulently recorded. But that is not, however, the basis for invading a country under international law. We're only allowed to use force in self-defense if we've sustained an armed attack. And I think it's quite clear that even the allegedly dangerous activities that Venezuelan drug groups are engaged in, drug gangs, Tren de la Ragua, would not qualify as an armed attack, which would justify the use of force. So on the question of the use of force or the threat to use force, I think here it's quite clear that there's not a legal basis for what the Trump administration is doing, nor is there a legal basis for the attacks that we've seen on the vessels, on the boats that are allegedly involved in ferrying drugs from Venezuela or through points to the United States. The situation with the tankers is a little bit more complicated. It is U.S. practice to impose sanctions, and we apply sanctions extraterritorially for violations of international law that other countries have engaged in. And I think these are vessels that, as near as we can tell, these tankers that have been intercepted are they're not flag vessels. They're not bearing the flag of any particular state. They're trying to be clandestine vessels, and they're being intercepted on the high seas. And if they are engaged in the transshipment of fuel between Venezuela and Iran that the United States has subjected to sanctions, then it may be possible, there's a debate among legal scholars, but it may be permissible for the United States to exercise jurisdiction and to seize those vessels.
So you're saying that the U.S. can possibly enforce its sanctions on the high seas, but that's a controversial point.
There are different views among different scholars. Some take a narrower view, and others take a more expansive view. But if we think about another conflict, in Europe, of course, there's been a hot debate in the past months about the seizure of Russian assets. And of course, here, European countries have frozen Russian assets by virtue of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, which of course is something that has taken place outside the territory of the countries where the assets have been seized. So this kind of assertion of jurisdiction over assets because of things that they've done impermissibly or that a country believes is illegal in its own territory, I mean, there is precedent for this. The U.S. has tended to be more expansive in terms of its assertion of jurisdiction than many other countries, and so there will be debate about this.
Willemstad, the Social and Economic Council of Curaçao, SER, submitted its advice on Monday to the Minister of Social Development, Labor and Welfare, SOAW, Charity America, Francisca, on a proposed adjustment to the statutory minimum wage scheduled to take effect on January 1st, 2026. The proposal would index the gross minimum hourly wage by 1.8%, using a 12-month moving average of the Consumer Price Index, CPI, through August 2025. The mechanism is intended to track price developments over time rather than mirror short-term inflation swings. Under the draft measure, the gross minimum hourly wage would rise from CG 11.72 to Seagown 11.93 Caribbean Guilder, and the corresponding gross minimum monthly wage would be CG 266.28, based on the applicable calculation method. The advisory process unfolded on an unusually compressed timetable. The SER received the formal request for advice on December 15th, leaving limited time before the intended effective date. As a result, the Advisory Council said there was little scope for the customary round of consultations with social partners and external experts that often accompanies advice on significant socio-economic measures. In its review, the CR examined the proposal against the legal framework of the National Ordinance on Minimum Wages, with attention to legislative intent and requirements linked to legal certainty and transparency.
Now for the weather forecast tonight through Thursday midday. Partly cloudy, becoming cloudy at times with isolated showers. Surface winds, today through Thursday midday. Northerly to east-northeasterly with a light to moderate breeze at 6 to 16. State of the sea. Slight to moderate waves, swells. 3 to 7 feet outlook through Friday midday. Fair to partly cloudy with brief showers possible. And now your 3-day forecast.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXV, yeah. Your social health insurances.
DECOM, the Collective Prevention Services, CPS, a department in the Ministry of Public Health, Social Development and Labor, Ministry VSA, as families come together during the holiday season, CPS advises to take preventative measures against respiratory illnesses causing flu-like symptoms. CPS advises that preventive measures should be applied at all times in and during the celebrations that will bring families and friends together for the season. The prevention measures are to sneeze in a napkin or inside of your elbow sleeve, and don't forget to wash your hands regularly with soap and water. Hand washing should last at least 2 minutes, or use hand sanitizer that consists of at least 60% alcohol. Practice proper cough and sneeze etiquette. Persons with flu-like symptoms should remain at home until they have recovered. Also discuss with your physician on the possibility of vaccinating during this flu season to enjoy the holiday season. In addition, proper ventilation is important should you meet indoors, and where possible, hold lunches and dinners outdoors. Have a safe and healthy holiday season. Don't forget, an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. Happy and healthy holidays. At least 160 schools across Jamaica remained closed to teaching and learning in early December, weeks after the passage of Hurricane Melissa. But the expected reopening of schools is January 6, 2026, according to Fayval Williams, Minister of Finance and the Public Service. Williams said 100 of the 160 schools not yet reopened were impacted by the Category 5 storm. Speaking during a meeting of Parliament's Standing Finance Committee recently, she also disclosed that 59 schools are still being used as shelters for people displaced by the hurricane. Of the 1,010 public schools nationwide, Williams said 721 were damaged when Hurricane Melissa tore through the island on October 28th, leaving 290 schools deemed severely impacted. Despite that, she told the committee that 850 schools have already reopened. This is our SXM Daily Newscast for December 24th, 2025. Thank you for joining us.